time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for a special Thursday night edition of the Shoe Shine Boxing Podcast. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Good to have you back on Thursday night, Drew. You know, it's a huge weekend for boxing. We had to get back on the air. Shout out to everybody that'll be joining us on this special vertical edition. Thank you guys for hanging out with the Shoe Shine. Let your buddies know if you're a big boxing fan. Let them all know about the Shoe Shine. Let's get that subscriber count up. Let's hit the like button. Let's get this out there. That being said, this is a huge weekend for the sport of boxing because we finally have, Drew, undisputed heavyweight championship in Riyadh. Are you excited, Drew? We've been doing this show for over 5 years now on different platforms. We've talked about Tyson Fury for years. At one point, we thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread until Usyk came along. And now we finally have a unification. And Usyk has what? 3 of the belts? And Tyson Fury is the lineal champ. He's the lineal champ. Only one of these guys is going to emerge as the undisputed heavyweight champion in the sport of boxing. Shout out to Jimenez Video Productions. Thank you for joining us. First one in the chat. Saludos, homeboy Drew. On a scale of 1 to 10, man, how excited are you about this tremendous card in Saudi Arabia?
10.
A 10. A 10. And oh, man. And so I'm out here on the West Coast. You're out there on the East Coast, Drew. Things are going to get started early. You know what time you're going to start watching this on Saturday? Is it afternoon for you?
Yeah, afternoon.
All right, Drew. Well, since Riyadh season is here, a lot of stuff has been going on. I don't know if you saw the picture of Eddie Hearn today. Eddie Hearn, everything melting off his face. I think that people were accusing him of his hair dye melting off. It's that hot in Saudi Arabia, guys. It's getting that hot here in Las Vegas. Thankfully, the only thing going gray on me is my chin hair. So hopefully that shit won't melt off. Shout out to the Epic Snare. Thank you for joining us. Tinkerbell, he says, who y'all got? Loma versus Tank. Ooh, that's a great fight, and I hope that fight happens. We touched about that.
Loma.
All right, there you go. The Epic Share. Loma beats Tank. I haven't made up my mind on that one, man. That is absolutely probably the most fantastic matchup you can make. One of them, because you know what? Throw in Shakur Stevenson in the mix, and I really don't know who's going to emerge as king of the lightweight division, but we touched on that earlier in the week. We had Loma with the big win, again, becoming a champion in his late 30s. We have Shakur Stevenson as a champion. We got Gervonta Tank Davis as the WBA champ. And Drew, speaking of Tank Davis, let me just talk about that, bro, because Tinkerbell says Loma too. Tinkerbell, a big new fan. Appreciate you here. Vertical is bringing the ladies too, Drew. Tank Davis, man, a bit of controversy today. It's all over my social media timeline because earlier in the day, this is Dan Rafael reporting it, but earlier in the day, Chris Mannix, you all know Chris Mannix from DAZN, he said, according to his source, that the WA president, Gilberto Mendoza, had confirmed that there would be a rehydration clause in the Tank Davis versus Frank Martin fight that's happening here in Las Vegas in June. Mendoza says there will be a 12-pound rehydration limit that was based on recent events. What? Mendoza did not respond when asked if this is a WBA policy for all sanctioned fights, for all championship fights. Drew, this is fucking crazy. Why just for Tank Davis does he get to keep opponents within a 12-pound range? Twitter erupted, man. Boxing Twitter was pissed. And later in the day, well, just a few hours ago, I saw Dan Rafael try to clear some stuff up. Dan Rafael says, been asked this a lot the past couple days. Here's the answer. No, there is no rehydration clause for Davis Martin. The WBA is planning to follow IBF by requiring fight morning weight check, but this fight was already done and it won't be a part of it, possible for future WBA title bouts. But Drew, that really brings into question this whole thing of what he did to Ryan Garcia and requiring Ryan Garcia to basically not rehydrate more than a certain amount of pounds. And the thought of hobbling Frank Martin. Frank Martin is not a devastating puncher. I've seen Frank Martin fight twice already in Las Vegas. Was this his idea? First of all, rehydration clause for Frank Martin, if there was one, man, that's fucking bananas, Drew. How do you feel about that?
I think after the rehydration clause is out, like this, like tell you the truth, you gotta be responsible for what you do and everything. Like as long as they come and weigh in at the proper weight and everything, I don't think there should be a problem with they come back in weight the next day and everything. Like bodies act different. Some people can rehydrate up 10 pounds, some rehydrate up to 15. So, end of the day, like I'm hoping that this is not for this fight this time. And but WBA needs to be straight and everything, because if they're not going to be straight, it means that this is a favor to Tank.
Yeah, I love when boxing Twitter gets at it. There's a rehydration clause. And that's what Frank Martin's going to look like if he's forced to abide by that. But thankfully, it looks like that wasn't actually correct, that what Chris Mannix was putting out there. It looks like there won't be a rehydration clause. I, for one, Drew, I think that if they want to solve this bullshit, by a lot of the problems we're having, including with PED use, if you just go back to fighters fighting at their natural weight class, weighing in the same day, so much of this weight bully bullshit and people using PEDs to melt down, like Oscar Valdez got caught for, or Ryan Garcia, when we find out May 22nd, really, how much was in his system, we would probably avoid all this excessive PED use if we just allowed fighters to weigh in on the day of their weight. And then we would really see, who's the baddest motherfucker at lightweight or what, junior, all the weight classes, if they just started to fight at their natural weight classes. But the Epic's Nerve says, in terms of Shakur, I don't think he can outbox Loma, nor does he have the power to knock him out. And I have to agree with that. Shakur Stevenson is not known to be heavy-handed or willing to engage and go there, Drew. That being said, man, I've been trying to not to change my mind about my pick between Tyson Fury and Usyk this week. And some people started to kind of sway me that Tyson Fury might be able to pull this off, Drew. But the stare down today, I am confused why Tyson Fury refuses to look at Usyk in the stare down today.
Mind games.
Mind games. Anything, as you can look right there, people were concerned that maybe Tyson Fury didn't want to show Usyk the way his scar had healed from that injury sustained in this, the training camp earlier this year. The reason why this fight was delayed was because of that scar tissue. We know he's been cut by Otto Wallen prior. He has a history of it. So you don't think it was anything to do with trying to conceal the scar?
Nah, just proper mind games with Usyk. Last minute mind games to see what he can get away with and everything. So, it's I just don't see nothing that can of concern with Fury. Like people are saying that they're concerned and how much is Fury gonna come in weigh in that and everything. He just looks in shape and everything, but like if you look at it, people think, oh, this could be a bad thing. And people, tell you the truth, I think this could be a good thing and everything. You might see a faster Tyson Fury in there.
Yeah. Oh, man, Drew, speaking of, let's talk about his weight loss, because this is probably the skinniest, thinnest I've seen Tyson Fury in a very long time. And I'm wondering if that's going to take a lot of his power off. Is it going to help his legs? We know he's going to have to move. He's going to have no choice but to move a lot against a very athletic Usyk, who's known to have great angles, basically a Lomachenko-like type fighter at heavyweight. Is it going to help him to be that thin, Drew? Are you concerned about how thin he looks?
No, because the thing is, some of that weight could have went to muscle and everything. I really think that him being like that might help his ability in the later rounds and everything to move around a little bit better, because he knows he's probably gonna have to be moving around. Like if my key for Usyk comes to point here, then this is going to be in the middle of the ring fight, and Usyk's going to use the middle of the ring the whole time. While Tyson, but I expect Tyson to come in. I told somebody, I think Tyson's Fury's going to come in a career light at 249.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Drew, I just posted a picture of how thin Fury got, but this is actually, I'm just realizing this has been Photoshopped, guys. This is not how skinny Tyson Fury is, but that shit would be hilarious if that's how thin he came in. Wow, look at the biceps on this guy, huh? Drew, shout out to Nando Lamas who joins us, man. It's good to see you again, Nando. He says, coming in light does eliminate the lean on him facet of Fury's game a bit. And Drew, that's something that I really, really think that Tyson Fury, to beat Usyk this weekend, is going to have to employ those dirty tricks early, man. I really think at every opportunity, he's going to have to lean on top of Usyk, who's only 6'3", guys. In the stare down, they don't look that off. I think Usyk is going to be able to deal with his height. But is he going to be able to deal with the constant pushing down, and how much of it will Fury get away with this weekend?
I really think that to a point that, Fury would probably use his weight and those tactics of a taller fighter and everything, but I think this is more for could be more for trying to beat Usyk to the punch and counter punching and everything. I said, one of the keys was for Fury was to when Usyk had his arms open and his stance and everything, was to be able to get that hook in there, or that jab, or that uppercut when he came in. So, that maybe this was for speed. And so that he knows he's going to have to be on point to counter him when he tries to come in to try to be the ambush fighter, Usyk.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Ash. He's brand new in the chat. Appreciate you coming in, homeboy. He says Fury is scared. And that could have been something that, he might have been scared. What was up with that face down? It's something that I don't typically see in Fury. Drew seems to think that it's mind games. Tinkerbell, she's got an interesting comment here. She says, Tommy Fury's a cutie. I loved watching him beat up Jake. And obviously Jake is in the news. He'll be fighting Mike Tyson on Netflix. And Tinkerbell just showing she knows a little bit something, Drew. These celebrity boxers, they bring a lot of new people to the to the boxing YouTube channels, and we appreciate that, even if it does mean Ryan Garcia is bringing new fans to the table. But also Nando says Lewis and Vladimir used the same tactics. Rest in peace, Manny Stewart. And a big shout out to my homegirl, Michelle Monroe, a YouTube content creator right here. She says hello, and it's good to see you, Michelle. Very good to see you as we embark on this vertical stream. What do you think, Michelle? Is vertical for you at any point? Let us know. Let me know in the comments section. All right, going back to what we were talking about, Drew. DraftKings has this fight ridiculously close, and obviously I live here in Vegas, Drew, and you like to put some money on this. There are so many ways you can bet on this, but the odds straight up are way too competitive to really make some money on this. I think you got to go with a prop bet, because Tyson Fury is a favorite by 120, negative 120, and that has the tides have turned, right? He's the favorite now, Fury?
I went with a couple of these bets in this fight. I actually may put a couple of different bets down on this whole card. I had it on a parlay, then I did a Fury. I made a bet with Fury wins by split decision. Fury wins over 10.5 rounds. And then I like the undercard. I bet 2 fights on the undercard.
Yeah, and to me, my favorite fight on this undercard is going to have to be the rematch between cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaia of Australia versus Maurice Bradis. Man, that fight, Jai is a 650 favorite. Man, does anybody think the former world champion Mighty's Brady's can upset Jai Opetaia? He did break his jaw. He broke the champion's jaw in the very first fight, Drew. I know he's 39 going on 40, but so are a lot of other fighters in the sport of boxing that are doing well. I mean, the light heavyweight champion is 40 years old. People give him a good chance of beating Bivol. Who do you like in that rematch? Are you still sticking with Jai Opetaia?
I got Okatai. I actually have him on a parlay that he wins by decision and not knockout.
Okay.
So I'm picking Okatai by decision.
All right. And you guys probably saw Frank Sanchez, who used to train with Canelo Alvarez. He's on this card. And it's good to see Frank Sanchez get a big fight. He's fighting this guy that I've seen fight on Riyadh season in Saudi Arabia, who's coming off some pretty big upsets. Agit Kabayel, European fighter. Man, Frank Sanchez is a negative 230 favorite on that, Drew. I think Frank Sanchez, we haven't seen the best of him, and I think this guy's really going to push him. I think this is going to be a sleeper fight. There's so many good fights this Saturday on that card.
This is the third fight that I have on a parlay with the Fury fight, and I got Frank Sanchez by knockout.
Frank Sanchez by knockout. That would be a very impressive win. And actually, you could see Frank Sanchez getting even bigger fights in Saudi Arabia with a statement like that. Because, like I said, Agit Kabayel's coming off some big upsets of his own. And he looks like he can hang with people. Actually, this is going to be a sleeper fight. I do favor Frank Sanchez. I think Frank Sanchez is one of those guys that if you press him, he will fight at the level of his opposition. So the more you bring it to him, the better he looks, that Cuban school of fighting. And remember, guys, Canelo Sanchez used to spar with this guy, man. That's how good Canelo is, that he'll spar with guys this big. The guy used to regularly work out in his camp. There is some really funny stuff. I'm going to segue really quickly off this funny shit. Drew, you talked about mind games. So today, in the middle of the day, I found out that Adrian Broner, who doesn't love Adrian Broner? Yeah, Adrian Broner ain't got nowhere. He's got plenty of kids to feed. But Blair Cobbs is a Philly fighter, Drew, who lives in Las Vegas. You guys may know his story. His dad was a drug dealer who did federal time. Blair Cobbs, a mixed black person, moves to Guadalajara, Mexico, to, as a teenager, basically evading the law or whatnot, learns to fight in Guadalajara and ends up in Las Vegas, Drew, pursuing his dreams of being a boxer. At one point, Blair Cobbs supposedly worked as a security guard at Caesars casino right here in the Vegas Strip. But man, I got to tell you, man, I am so proud of Blair Cobbs because I ran into him earlier in the year in January. And did you see the Adrian Broner puppet? We're talking mind games, Drew. This shit is fucking ridiculous. Look at this, the Adrian Broner puppet. And this is really in keeping with the Vegas traditions of ventriloquism, Drew. I think Blair Cobbs, shout out to Blair Cobbs for doing a fantastic ventriloquist job with the Adrian Broner dummy puppet. You guys have to go watch this clip on YouTube because I don't think Adrian Broner was ready for it, Drew. Did you catch this? The puppet? Nah. You're too busy following the career of Jerome Boots Ennis, but man, Blair Cobbs, he's a character, man. We talked about him, having that wrestling WWE appeal, being a character, and I ain't seen this shit. I've seen Vegas streamers coming out with their own puppets, to be honest, but a boxer with their own puppet. Shout out to Blair Cobbs. That fight's June 7th. I'm shocked, man. It looks like Adrian Broner is going to show up for that fight in Miami, Florida. So that's really interesting. All right, Drew. I'm having a very hard time picking this fight. I still think Usyk is going to pull off a decision win, to be honest. But I don't think I can change my mind anymore. It's Thursday. And actually, that favors me because if I go put some money on the line here, Alexander Usyk is not the favorite. I can make a little bit of money. But the parlay is definitely the way to go. Drew, I'm not sure if you heard the big news for Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we thought that Berlanga was the front runner for September for Mexican Independence Day here in Las Vegas. Edgar Berlanga, the Puerto Rican fighter. But the IBF, they mandated this week that Canelo Alvarez fight their guy, their number one guy, Scully. I believe he's from the UK.
He's from Germany.
He's German?
Yeah, he's a Cuban immigrant that lives in Germany.
Shit, he can't be that bad. I've got to go watch tape on him. The IBF have declared,
if you look at his resume, his last couple of fights were against guys that have at least 15 or 20 losses.
How the fuck does he get rated so high? Excuse my language, guys. William Skull, IBF mandatory. Now, they're threatening to derail everything because this guy is completely unknown to the U.S. market. And Canelo has to. Those pay-per-view numbers that were leaked for the Cinco de Mayo fight here in Vegas against Jaime Munguia, I trust Gail Falkenthal of nyfights.com. She says that those numbers that were floated in the 500,000 range are baloney. Whether or not we choose to believe it true, that if it was true would be very low. And you fucking nailed it, man. If he fights Berlanga, that could be another record low. But to make him fight this guy or take his undisputed, if he doesn't fight this guy, they're going to threaten to take away his titles. Look, they're giving him 28 days to reach a deal or purse bid. Meanwhile, you have Turki Al-Ashish, His Excellency from Saudi Arabia, saying he's got the money to make this fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez happen this year in December. Yeah, what does Canelo do?
But Canelo doesn't even want to fight Terence Crawford.
He don't?
He doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford. He said he won't fight Terence Crawford.
I know I heard him say something about he's not going to get the credit. And I agree, guys. I don't think he gets the credit. Personally, I am all in support of this fight happening. They're already asking fans. Turki Al-Ashish, I keep saying his name wrong. He's on social media. He's trying to promote this already. He's asking, where should we have this super fight? And of course, it should be right here in the fight capital of the world. We saw how hard of a time you had selling tickets in New York. Why the hell would you host this in New York when Canelo has a built-in fan base right here in Las Vegas? Los Angeles, also, yeah, it's great for press conferences. This fight belongs right here in Las Vegas, Drew. But he's rushing it. I hate to say this, but man, if you really think you're going to force these two guys to fight in December, you are rushing this mega fight. Let Terence Crawford win his fight at 154 in Los Angeles. And then, Fundora, who just fought here in Vegas, Fundora is available this December. Let him get a crack at Fundora and win those other two belts. Let him fucking unify and become undisputed at 154. And then maybe next May, if Canelo's still looking for a dance partner, sure, Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium as the super fight of the two biggest names in boxing, aside from this undisputed heavyweight champion that's going to emerge. They're the biggest names in boxing. Forget about Ryan Garcia, man. He has no accolades. I don't give a fuck. Drew. Where do you think this fight should happen if it does happen?
I don't even think this fight happens, and I don't think it should happen. Like you seriously want to fight with that's like a guy coming up from two weight classes down? We don't need that shit again. You should want the Benavidez fight. And he's like, oh, I don't want the Benavidez fight. Tell you the truth, he needs to stop. He's trying to get in the way of trying to tell fans what they want. And the fans want Benavidez. They don't care about the Terence Crawford fight.
I hear you, Drew, but that fight seems like it's never going to happen. Even if the Saudis throw money at him, David Benavidez is fighting June 15th underneath as the co-main for Tank Davis. I just can't see him melting back down to 168. If the money's right, I guess he would melt back down, but Canelo doesn't seem to want to take that fight. That's the last fight he wants to take. The craziest shit that I heard all week, and it's always consistently coming from nobody else but Ryan Garcia, is that Ryan Garcia hollered at David Benavidez online and said, I wanted to fight him. Shout out to the SS Spider and JD joining us. Salute. The SS Spider says, hey, man, I'm punching that like button for the homies. I appreciate that. Make sure you do hit that like button so we get recommended to even more people on that vertical stream. Hopefully people will be tuning in and hitting that subscribe button. Drew, Ryan Garcia, I got this this graphic people put together. This is the craziest shit that Ryan Garcia has said or done since testing positive. And today he said some even more crazy shit because he just recently said that he doesn't give a shit if he does get suspended. He's done with boxing. this boxing, that he's going to go start his own boxing league. The same boxing league he talked about before the fight with Haney in an interview when he said, if I could build my own boxing league, I would allow steroids and weed smoking. So that's the latest crazy bullshit he said today. But look at this list of things he's done. Number 2, Ryan calls out Errol Spence. Number 3, Ryan claims to hook up with Spence's wife. I don't think that's... Oh, I guess he did. Ryan calls out Terrence Crawford. Ryan calls out Anthony Joshua. Number 6, Ryan calls out David Benavidez this week. And David Benavidez, I guess he replied and said, let's do it. I'll put an end to you. We talked about this on Monday. Ryan claimed to have slept with Kambosos' wife after Kambosos loses the biggest fight of his career, or one of the against Lomachenko. Tells everyone that he slept with Kambosos' wife. Isn't that enough? Ryan threatens to sue Snack. Ryan claims he's innocent, and then Ryan Garcia gets baptized this week. I saw pictures. I guess he's finally baptized. For what it's worth, you know, he's a good Christian. He's got baptized, but I see more than that, Drew. I saw something really funny this week. This was posted by some guy named Jevin Griffin, who I don't know if he knows who Ryan Garcia is, but Ryan Garcia was on his way to Saudi Arabia, flying first class, and he posted this. I wish they would do something to keep the pores out of the lounge. This guy was so annoying and obnoxious. Dude, this looks legit. This guy has no idea who Ryan Garcia is, and he posts Ryan Garcia. By the way, I have a friend, Drew, who flies first class on what is that airline? Delta all the time. And I ain't saying he's broke. He ain't broke and he ain't rich. But somehow he always flies first class. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to say who it is, but he's a comic. I'm pretty sure people say the same shit about him. What's he doing in the Delta first class lounge? I thought that shit is hilarious. That looked pretty real.
Jesus.
All right. By the way, Drew, Ryan Garcia is... he's in Saudi Arabia, and he had a gang load of shit to talk about. Eddie Hearn, that wasn't included on that list, but all of a sudden, Eddie Hearn and Ryan Garcia are buddies again. I mean, look at this. Look how excited they are. Could it be possibly because Eddie Hearn, I don't know, he feels a little compassion for Ryan because his fighter, Conor Benn, was officially suspended by the British Boxing Board of Control. They both have a couple of fighters now. They're both dealing with the same shit. You know, Eddie Hearn desperately is trying to get Conor Benn to fight in the UK again in a super fight. And for someone that was talking a lot of shit, Ryan, on Eddie Hearn, they sure do seem to be buddied up. By the way, I mentioned it, Drew. Did you see that Eddie Hearn's hair dye was melting off his face today?
Yeah, I saw that.
Shout out to Sin City Syndicate. We're going to go over some of these odds, or we did go over some of these odds. Let me know who you're picking on this weekend's Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. Tyson Fury is now the favorite. I just mentioned that at -120 on DraftKings. I think that's crazy. You know, it's not a lot of money to be made on Usyk, but I think I'm going to ride with Usyk on this one. All right, Drew, in San Diego for all the West Coast fans, when you guys are done watching boxing all day with the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the World, a full day of boxing brought to you by Saudi Arabia, San Diego and Top Rank Boxing, not to be outdone, have an incredible fight because the Mexican fighter Navarette, that I'm a huge fan of, you know, I forgot to wear my vaquero hat. Is my vaquero hat here? No, it's not. In San Diego this weekend on ESPN, you're going to be able to see him go for his 4th world title against Berinchyk. And this fight, let's take a look at the odds real quick. There's some really good fighters. Obviously, Giovanni Santillana out of San Diego is a welterweight contender who is now going to be elevated to potentially the WBO interim title. Drew, against Brian Norman Jr., Giovanni Santillana, if he becomes the winner of this, becomes the WBO interim welterweight champion. Why does that mean anything? Fuck, it's a big deal, man, because let's see, the WBC interim champion is Mario Barrios, and all of these roads lead to one guy, and that's Philadelphia's Jerome Ennis, Drew.
Well, what can I say? Like if you look at it, it's a lot. It could be a wide open division now and everything. Hope but I think the two top guys are Giovanni and Boots in this division. So if we look at it, I think that we can have a collision course between them two eventually. But only time will tell. I just don't. I really don't really see how it's going to go on right now. But I think we just got to see how this all plays out. We don't. This is like a little bit of a mystery right now.
It's a mystery, Drew. And by the way, shout out to somebody joining us, New Boji 2.2. He's concerned. He says that everyone's a fake fighter. He thinks that there's a lot of cherry picking going on ever since the Pac era. And of course, thank you so much for Mario Lopez, the homeboy, joining us. The real Mario Lopez is in the house, Drew. I was on that panel on Monday with Steve Kim. Obviously, Steve Kim, his co-host for the 3 Knockdown Rule. So no surprise that Mario Lopez joins us again. Shout out to the 3 Knockdown Rule.
Slater.
Slater in the house. All right. Some good heavyweight. Hey, Richard Torres Jr., the silver medalist, he's fighting again. I got to give him props. It's not like the level of competition has been that good, but Richard Torres Jr. again fighting. He's a negative 500 Richard Torres Jr. versus Brandon Moore. There's a lot of size on Brandon Moore, but Richard Torres Jr. has been dealing very good, coming up the ranks as a heavyweight prospect, and his activity is through the roof. I love how busy Richard Torres Jr. is. I actually am really enjoying also the son of Fernando Ferros Vargas, Emiliano, fighting again. He's on his 10th pro fight, Drew. That's insane how fast Top Rank is moving him. But I think they're doing a good job, Drew. So a lot of prospects, including the Bay Area. Shout out to Charlie Sheehy, who's been developing as a lightweight prospect / contender as well. He's fighting Manuel James. He's a negative 1,000 favorite. But this brings us to that main event, Drew. Emmanuel Navarette versus Dennis Berinchyk, the Ukrainian fighter. This is the 4th weight class. This is a guy who started fighting like in the low 100, like 112, 115 as a professional, Drew. As he hit his limit, man, he's going for the 135-pound division. We got some new people in here wondering if Loma's going to fight Tank. But Navarrete wins this fight, Drew. He's in the mix to fight your guy, Lomachenko. I think that's a fight they're going to make.
Here's the issue. Yeah, he's probably is going to get past Berinchyk and everything. By the way, it probably wouldn't be a bad bet to bet on Berinchyk just to throw a couple bucks on Berinchyk just for the upset and everything. But I think Loma will probably be next, but I don't think he beats Loma. I think Navarette's been through so many battles everything, man. I just don't think he wins beyond this fight. Whoever he fights, I don't think he'll beat whoever he faces next.
Yeah, we talked about that Monday. Does he get past Lomachenko? Does he get past Shakur Stevenson? Top Rank is trying to hold on desperately to Shakur Stevenson. To be honest, I don't know why. He didn't have a problem. Bob didn't have a problem letting go of Terrence Bud Crawford. And look how that played out. You said you didn't make any money off of Terrence Crawford, but when you give Shakur Stevenson the main event, he stinks up the big fights like he did on Formula One weekend right here in Las Vegas. Shakur Stevenson badly criticized by the general boxing public and sports fans, man. They were like, oh shit, free boxing. This guy's supposed to be the shit. Let's watch him on Formula One weekend. And he performed one of the worst championship fights. Like, again, I don't know how Navarrete stacks up against a slick boxer like that. We could see just Shakur Stevenson running for the entire 12 rounds against a fighter like Navarrete.
It's like this. He went on Twitter and said, you're doing the same to me you did to Terrence Crawford. There's a difference. Terrence Crawford actually fought and actually was beating guys, and he got held out of a fight, and Bob never wanted to put him in there with Pacquiao. You, on the other hand, did not want to fight. Did not want to engage when you were in the ring and everything. And you cannot be trusted to put in the main event and try to make money off of. You're not a draw. And if you look at it, like, you're gonna get your wish eventually. If you keep that belt, you are probably gonna get your wish eventually. But be careful what you wish for, because you kind of did it. There were some points that how they found some ways how to beat you now. And what are you gonna do when you have to fight? Because this isn't a guy that you can get a couple of hits off of and not engage for 12 rounds, you get a boring decision. No, you're going to have to fight your way out, or you're a sitting duck. And because you're going to fight somebody that has better footwork than you, you're going to fight someone that has higher wing IQ than you, and you're going to fight a guy that can most likely cut the wing off, and you're a sitting duck. So it's really, Shakur has really put himself in a hole eventually, because, yeah, you're going to eventually get your Lomachenko fight. But you're not going to be the house fighter. Loma's going to be the house fighter. That means you're going to be forced to fight. And if you're not going to fight, they're not going to give you a decision. They're probably going to give it to Loma. Even if it's a boring fight, they're going to give it to the aggressor, and that's Loma. Because Loma will at least land punches on you enough to get those points to score and everything. But I don't think it comes to that, because I think Loma catches him. And I think Loma puts him on the ropes the whole time, and you're going to see the real way how to beat Shakur Stevenson. So Shakur needs to really change the way that he really fights and really show people his talent, because he's put his talent to waste. So,
all right, yeah. Sin City Syndicate just posted the current odds, and I was looking at those for that Navarette fight, the main event on Top Rank. Drew, it really does pay. If you think Dennis Berinchyk is going to upset Emmanuel Navarette, the 3-time world champion, 3-division world champion, that pays 400 to 1. So that's going to be a $100 wager will get you $400. And I have to think, man, when he fought that Australian fighter that recently just got his butt whooped, what was his name? That Australian fighter actually is works with the same team as Tim Tszю's team, by the way. That weekend that Tim Tszю's team was here, I met that coach, his coach and all that, and I was shocked, man. They flew right over to Arizona. What is the name of that fighter? Do you remember that guy from Arizona? He fought recently in Arizona. That Australian fighter fought Navarette and knocked him down, almost finished him early in that fight for the 130-pound championship. That was crazy. His name escapes me, guys. He's part of Tim Tszю's team. He now has 2 losses in a row, but to very good, obviously to elite competition, he's come up short in his last 2 fights. But that was pretty damn fucking scary. And again, he moves up to another weight class where I think we're going to see Navarette look the softest he's ever looked tomorrow at the weigh-in. JD says Berinchyk is a live dog at great odds. It is at 400 to 1. And I have to consider that. I got to really take into account that Navarette is pushing the envelope of how far he's gone. Will his power be there at 135? He probably could hurt some guys, but there's going to be a lot of guys, Drew, like you said, that are going to be able to hurt him right back. And I don't expect him to be anywhere near as quick as he has been at featherweight or at 130 pounds. He stayed very briefly at 130. Like I just mentioned, that shit was like just recently. I felt like his best reign was obviously at featherweight, and he's gone. If you're willing to take that gamble, Berinchyk is a live dog. I might just put some money on that myself, but I do have a gut feeling that Emmanuel Navarette, with all his experience at the championship level, is going to emerge out of this victorious, even if we see him get dropped again. And I will not be surprised if Berinchyk is able to hurt him. I mean, he's a legit lightweight, 135-pound fighter. It's very, very possible. All right, Drew. I said we do a short show. I appreciate everybody hanging out with the Shoe Shine tonight on Thursday night. I know you could be watching a lot of other shit. Hit that like button. It's a little bit difficult. Go to the top 3 things and push that like button. Go into the like screen and make sure you hit a like or drop us a comment afterwards. There's some really good, fun fight news, Drew. We talked about that Floyd Mayweather. There's been a lot of rumors. He was supposedly detained in Dubai. Why is he detained in Dubai? Does anybody know what's going on? I read this week that Al Heyman is missing, that Al Heyman hasn't been seen, that Al Heyman owns a shitload of money to a lot of the PBC fighters. You know, this is all rumors and conjectures, but I saw this on social media that part of the reason why Floyd might be in financial trouble, Floyd Mayweather might be in financial trouble and be detained in Dubai is because he entrusted Al to invest his money. And now Floyd is doing another exhibition match. This time, the big announcement. Can you believe this, dude? Can you believe this? He is fighting none other than Vicious Victor Ortiz in Mexico, Drew. And he didn't show up to the initial press conference in Mexico City. That's messed up, man.
He's not even fucking Mexican.
Floyd Mayweather is a no-show this week at the press conference, but not only him, Vicious Victor Ortiz, what is your fucking excuse? What is your excuse for not showing up? Did you know that they posted on BoxRec that Vicious Victor Ortiz was looking for an opponent to fight in Kansas City, his hometown? That was like 2 months ago. Floyd saw the ad, or somebody on Floyd's team saw the ad and was like, call him up for an exhibition in Mexico. But then you don't show up. Like, where I don't know. I read that Floyd was let go from Dubai. He's fine. He's out. But where is he? You got to go and promote this thing. You're trying to get the Mexican fans. You got to show up. It's not a good look. And
Look,
people are going to speculate. Man. Does he have money problems? By the way, shout out to Mom Food. Good to see you. The sugar is in the house. Mom Food, plant and things.
I don't know. Here's the issue. The Mexicans are not fucking hyped for Victor Ortiz. Like, seriously, he's a fucking critter. I don't know. I think you guys forsaken him already. And like, tell you the truth, I couldn't agree more if you guys forsaken Victor Ortiz. He's not Ross. He doesn't have that roster and everything. This is just. What is Floyd trying to accomplish is putting another attempt at a waste of money grab, so he can just grab himself a quick check real quick, and whoever's throwing this is going to lose money because this doesn't do not even 50,000 buys.
Wow. You know, I'm wondering if Floyd Mayweather picked the wrong guy, Drew, because I saw that Chavez Jr. was in Las Vegas just recently. Chavez Jr. was back in the spotlight in Las Vegas. That's right. The son of the great Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez Jr. was back. And I can't believe the pictures I seen of Chavez Jr. showing off that I'm back. And he finally looks to be in shape. He actually looked really good. You know, he's been through rehab. Did Floyd Mayweather pick the wrong guy? Because again, this is an exhibition. And Floyd fought, what was that, Logan Paul? A WWE wrestler, YouTuber, 200 pounds of muscle. Chavez Jr. is back. He is officially on the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson Netflix special. 53 wins, 6 losses. Most of those losses have come recently, including one to MMA fighter Spider Anderson Silva. He is fighting another UFC fighter. Yes, he's fighting another MMA fighter with a 0-0 professional boxing record. He's back, though. Chavez Jr. is back, Drew. Should he have just called the Chavez Jr.? I mean, maybe. You know what? There's 2 things that are going to come out of this, Drew. Chavez Jr. is either preparing to fight Jake Paul, which is why he's on this card. He'll probably be 3rd on the card. He's preparing to fight Jake Paul, which would be obviously a pro fight, maybe at 190 pounds or whatever weight class Jake Paul, the A side, decides. Or we could see Chavez Jr. take on an exhibition. I think, you know what, Floyd, I think you made the wrong call. I think you should have fought the son of the legend. And you might want to take that into consideration in the future, since apparently Chavez Jr. is back. Drew, does he lose? Does he lose to another MMA fighter?
Nah, I don't think he loses to this guy.
Not to this one, though.
Nah, he doesn't lose to this guy.
Unbelievable, but he's back, guys. Yeah, he is back. Chavez Jr. is back. Chavez versus Darren Till at AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Free. It's free, guys. If you're going to watch the mic, if you got Netflix, look how shredded his face is. He's already, like, this isn't the Chavez Jr. we used to seeing. He said he's clean now. He's out of rehab. Yeah, this is crazy. Darren Till of the UFC. Let's see here. Darren Till has no head movement. Easy money for Junior. And hopefully Junior makes a good account of himself and comes into shape and shows up to this fight, because obviously there will be a lot of eyes on him on July 20th. Chavez Jr. versus Darren Till, now added to the undercard. Drew, what do you make of Jake Paul weighing 220 pounds? We showed the pictures of him the other day. There's a lot better pictures. He looks huge, but to be honest, if I took my shirt off for the audience, I look like Jake Paul right now myself. I'm pushing 210 right now. I've never weighed this much in my life. What's up, Paul Martinez? Appreciate you dropping by to say what up.
He really has stamina issues at 190.
So he's going from 220. I think he's going to melt 10 pounds, he says, or 230 to 220.
Yeah, I really, this is going to be even worse for Jake Paul. I really think it's he's getting knocked out for sure.
If I'm reading this right, Sin City Syndicate says Jake Paul is the favorite. I gotta look at that.
Yeah, he is.
That's fucking nuts. I think even Mike Tyson, as old as he is, will be able to stop him. He looks explosive. He's fought at this weight his entire life, and I don't care how old he is. Jake Paul will never be as good as even a late 50s Mike Tyson. JD says Paul Darren is a Muay Thai specialist, I believe. Well, that's cool, JD. That's actually the very first combat sport that I ever tried coming out of high school was Muay Thai. I love the sport of Muay Thai. There's one more bit of news before we wrap up the special edition on Thursday. Drew, I appreciate you staying up so late. Remember, guys, Drew's out there in Philly. I'm trying to get Drew to go to this Jerome Boots Ennis fight, the hometown fight. Still trying to make that happen for you, Drew. One last bit of news. I mentioned the Saudis. The Saudis are hosting this great fight, Riyadh season, this Saturday, the undisputed heavyweight showdown. But they also have another fight in mind, Drew. We just saw the great Inoue. I think Inoue is my pound for pound number one fighter right now. And His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh has named Gervonta Davis versus Naoya Inoue on his list of dream fights that he wants to make. If they can reach the right weight and give us the right proposal, we will deliver it. Basically, they will pay whatever it takes to make this happen. The question is, Gervonta Tank Davis, he thinks he's the A side of everything. Today, we started off this show talking about that they might have imposed a rehydration limit on his opponent, Frank Martin, this June. Naoya Inoue is the A side in all of Asia. He's pound for pound number one or number two in the world. He only weighs 122 pounds right now. That's what he fights at. He's undisputed. Where do you negotiate this fight? How do you even get Tank Davis to agree to melt 5 pounds, dog? What weight class?
Yeah, this is a fight that's not going to happen.
Damn, Sin City Syndicate says 128. I like it. I mean, I like that. That's approximately 6 pounds north for Inoue. And that's a whopping 7 pounds for Tank Davis. But Tank Davis hasn't fought at 130 since what? Since he knocked out the Mexican Michoacan fighter in brutal knockout. That's been a long time since he's fought at 130. Some of his best performances were at that lower weight class. How much money? Dog, I think they'd have to pay Gervonta Tank Davis $25 million. They'd have to pay him somewhere near what Canelo, just to make him lose that weight to make it happen. And what would Inoue? I mean, I think Inoue would take the money, but Inoue just loves fighting in Japan. He's fought here in the U.S. He didn't seem to get the attention he wanted, so he went back to Japan, and he's getting a lot of criticism because he won't leave Japan. But when you sell out stadiums in Japan, like they just did the other day, dog, how do you get that guy to come to the U.S.? I don't know, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think. 128, I think that's a solid catch weight. I think 132. Man, but that's still a stretch. We haven't even seen Inoue move up to featherweight yet, Drew. Your thoughts, Drew?
I don't know. I just don't think it's going to happen. It's not there. It's too far apart. Like, I can understand if Inoue is at 130 and everything, but nah.
Yeah, and Inoue, well, he's essentially cleaned out 122, and we've seen that guy at 126, one of my favorite Mexican champions, featherweight champion, El Venado Lopez. He's can't wait to get his hands on Inoue and fight Inoue. He said, I'm waiting for you. He posted it this week. I'm waiting for you at 126. When you're ready to make that fight happen, I'll give you a crack at the title. I would think, hey, let me see Inoue at 126 if he can beat one of the champions there, and then he can catapult and fight Tank Davis at a catch weight. 128 sounds good to me, man. But again, very difficult. All right, man. It's been a great show, guys. I appreciate everybody. Shout out to JD, Sin City Syndicate, Mom Food, and everybody that joined us. Mario Lopez was in the house. Shout out to the 3 knockdown rule, Drew. And we've got some new females in here. Tinkerbell, shout out to you. Michelle Monroe as well, my homegirl. And Mom Food, thank you. Mom Food, good to see you. I'm about to go hop into some other shows now. Drew, any final words? I know it's late for you, homeboy.
Hopefully this weekend's good.
Yeah. All right. Last chance. Last time, man. Who emerges as the heavyweight undisputed champion of the world?
Fury.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Monday. We'll see who wins. Is it Fury or my pick, Usyk? We'll be back Monday at 7:30 p.m. for the Shoe Shine. Until then, thank you all. We'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.